Good morning, Reptilians. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Elle, this is Zsasz, and this is Elle's Reptiles. As per requested, this week we are going to talk all about bearded dragon egg laying, signs that your bearded dragon is gravid, and how to make dig boxes. All super important if you have a female bearded dragon, so make sure to stay tuned. Super short, quick introduction today. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by iHeartGecko, so make sure to stay until the end of the video to find out all about this awesome company. Let's get started. So a word we're going to use a lot for those that don't know is the word gravid. Gravid just means being with eggs, being pregnant essentially. Fertile or infertile, the word gravid is still used here. First of all, let's talk about who lays eggs. This kind of seems like a silly question, but it's actually a very important question. Obviously, your bearded dragon needs to be a female in order to lay eggs, and they are usually going to be at a certain age, normally between 12 and 18 months at least. Zsasz laid eggs when she was 10 months old, which was kind of crazy. That was very early for her, but the important part is that your bearded dragon never has to breed in order to lay eggs. They never even have to be in contact with a male in order to lay eggs. Bearded dragons, like many reptiles, will lay infertile eggs. On that note, if your female bearded dragon has ever been in contact with a male, they can still lay fertile eggs in the future. Again, just like many reptiles, bearded dragons have the ability to come into contact with a male and actually hold on to the materials necessary to reproduce for up to a year and sometimes even longer than that. So if your bearded dragon has ever been around a male, make sure to keep an eye on those eggs because they could potentially be fertile. What are the signs that your bearded dragon is gravid? There are a multitude of these. Number one, that bearded dragon is going to glass surf a lot. As time gets closer and closer to time for them to actually lay their eggs, you're going to notice that they start digging. They may be digging in the corner of the tank. They may be just digging directly in the floor. They may be digging under their hide because that is a natural behavior for them. Another thing that you're going to notice is weight gain right here around the midsection. This is going to be especially noticeable when your bearded dragon pancakes. That's basically when they flatten their whole body out like a pancake. It makes them look super, super skinny and flat. When they're doing that, if there are eggs in there, sometimes you can actually see or feel the bumps where those eggs are. Along with that weight gain, you're going to notice that your bearded dragon at one point is eating a lot. They are eating anything and everything that crosses their path. They may eat it all and then glass surf until you bring more food to them. They want to eat everything and then the eating just stops. It just suddenly, out of nowhere, they just completely stop eating and they will refuse everything. This usually is going to happen right before the digging starts. And obviously, other signs there's going to be that they are female and that they are at least 12 months old. They are at least at that maturity age. So you have started to notice all of these signs. What do you do? Bearded dragons have to have a lay box in order to lay their eggs. This is called a lay box or a nesting box, an egg laying box, a dig box, whatever you call it. Every now and then you'll get a bearded dragon that will just lay their eggs on tile floor or inside of their hide. But for the most part, bearded dragons will not lay their eggs if they do not have a dig box. This leads to issues. This leads to egg binding or calcified eggs, which require surgical removal. So we need to provide them with a dig box. How do we make a dig box? So you are going to need a pretty large plastic container, like a large Sterilite bin if you want to go real big. You can also do like a cat litter box if you want something that's going to go into their enclosure, or even an old 20-gallon long tank will work for this. Basically, the substrate we're going to put into this container needs to be deep. So the container needs to be pretty deep. After that, we need a substrate for them to dig in. People use a lot of different things for this. Some people will use vermiculite. Some people will use just straight sand. The most popular option for this, as I am making this video because things change often, is going to be a mixture of 50-50 sand and either topsoil or eco earth or something like that. You're going to want all that to be pretty moist. So basically the consistency of that should be good enough to build a sandcastle with. If you can pack all that together and build a standing sandcastle, then you're good. They are going to be building a tunnel down into that, and you want the substrate to be strong enough to stick together enough to make it to where that tunnel doesn't collapse in on them so that they can go down in there and lay their eggs. And once you have that bin with a good deep, at least 6 inches, but 9 to 12 inches would honestly be better, a good deep layer of that substrate, you can just kind of start a little hole from them in there. That way they have like a little area, a little idea of like, oh, I can dig here. That's basically it. Depending on how you're doing this, kind of depends on other things that you may need to provide them. If that container is going inside of their enclosure, you just put that in there and make sure they can get in and out of it, or make sure you can put them in and out of it. If you are using like a big Sterilite bin and it is not going in their enclosure, you are just going to take them out. Make sure you also provide heat. You do not need to provide any kind of UVB light for them. They're only going to be in there for a couple days, so they're fine. But you do need to provide them some sort of heat source. You can just get a heat bulb and just kind of clamp it to the side or hang it above the bin, and you're just going to put them in there and leave them there for about 2 or 3 days, basically until the eggs come out. The way that you know when to put them in there, if you are doing a dig box outside of their enclosure, is just when that digging starts, you know that it is almost time to put them in there. If they are frantically digging everywhere, you need to immediately put them in there. Just pay attention to when they are digging. They need to be put into the place where they can dig. Once you notice that they have laid all their eggs, you can take your bearded dragon out, put them back in their enclosure, or take the dig box out of their enclosure, and you can just leave them to go on with their life, and you can just dispose of the eggs and all of the sand, unless they are fertile eggs. If they're fertile eggs, you need to incubate them and all that. I'm not a breeder. I do not have information on all of that. The temperatures, I don't know. But if they're infertile eggs, you can go ahead and dispose of them. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you do know for a fact that your bearded dragon has come into contact with a male bearded dragon at some point, make sure to check those eggs before you dispose of them. Check them, make sure that they are infertile eggs before you just toss them out into the world. And after your bearded dragon has laid those eggs, make sure you are providing them with a lot of calcium, a lot of vitamins. You're dusting all that food. Put extra calcium and vitamins on their salads. Make sure you are giving them a lot, because making eggs for bearded dragons is very calcium draining, and they need to replenish all of those vitamins and minerals. So make sure you are appropriately supplementing your bearded dragon after they have those eggs. That is all that I have for this video. This video has been requested for quite a while. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative. Any other tips that you may have, leave down in the comments below. As I said at the beginning of this video is sponsored by iHeartGeckos. iHeartGeckos is a wonderful company that I enjoy working with so much, that makes conversion kits for reptiles. These conversion kits are awesome because they basically allow you to take any tank and silicone this door into place, and you now have a front opening, highly ventilated tank for your reptiles. This is awesome because reptiles don't really enjoy you swooping down to grab them. They like to be picked up from in front of their face, because in the wild, predators would just come down and swoop them up. So they like to be picked up at eye level. These conversion kits make it very easy to do that, so your animals just are more comfortable. And once you get these conversion kits in the mail, you literally just take silicone, put a line of it around the opening of that tank, push it in place, let it air out, make sure that silicone smell is gone, and that's it. You have a long-lasting front opening tank. If you happen to order one of these, make sure to put Elle's Reptiles in the How Did You Hear About Us box. That way they know that you guys are coming from here. Thank you so much to iHeartGeckos for continuing to sponsor these videos. As always, if you aren't already, please feel free to follow me on my other socials and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications every single time I put out a new video, which is every Sunday and some Wednesdays. This week's Instagram shout out is here, and this week's subscriber shout out is here. Thank you guys both so much for liking and subscribing and following and sharing and commenting and all that jazz. You are the bee's knees. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. Good morning, Reptilians. Welcome. This is on, right? It's gonna be really awkward. Awkward. We're good. All right. This week we are going to talk all. Should I get Zsasz? Yeah, Zsasz should be in this video. This is a obviously your bearded dragon. Obviously, Draken the dragon. That's a good name. Obviously, I'm gonna look over here a lot, just trying to make sure Zsasz is okay. Okay, can I say that? I don't know if I can say that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, what's up? Scale on my lap. My hands look huge. Okay. So, sandcastle consistency. Actually, we don't need to say that again. I always do that, and I always have to cut it out. I just repeat myself so much.